I grew up just like loving, in a real small town. It's like that small town thing where when you're growing up in a small town, you can't wait to leave. And then I went to school in DC, and then I'm up near New York. I got a place that's got more going on. But I think back at my childhood, and I love my childhood. I love growing up in the country. You know what I mean? Like you got
Yeah.
nothing to do, so you're you're playing sports in the walk. You play your. I mean, we play video games back then, but it's nothing like it is now. I feel
No.
like it's almost like too much now, where kids don't go outside and play anymore, which is kind of sad. But
Truth.
remember Manhunt? Did you guys play Manhunt by any
Love
chance?
Manhunt. Yeah, man.
Love me a good Manhunt session, like every Friday night. We would
What's up, Drop Pod listeners? You can check out new episodes of the Drop Podcast every Tuesday and Thursday, wherever you listen to podcasts. You can find all of our content on YouTube at the Drop Golf Podcast and on our socials. That's Instagram and Twitter at the Drop_pod. No matter how you consume us, like, subscribe, rate, review, all that good stuff. Follow and listen along.
This episode is sponsored by Gimme Cocktails. Hey golfers, just because golf season is over in New Jersey doesn't mean you can't enjoy a taste of the course. Meet Gimme Cocktails, your favorite drink for any season. Gimme Cocktails is a family-owned business proudly based right here in Monmouth County, New Jersey. They've perfected the blend of premium vodka with either pineapple or lemonade iced tea, enhanced with a touch of effervescence. It's all natural, 7% alcohol, gluten-free, and the ultimate refresher whether you're winding down after a long day or gearing up for your next adventure. Find Gimme Cocktails at any Total Wine location, ShopRite in Middletown, Circus Liquors in Red Bank, and Huddy's in Colts Neck. Whether you're celebrating a win, unwinding after a busy day, or dreaming of next year's tee times, Gimme Cocktails is the perfect drink companion. And don't forget, drink local. When you sip Gimme Cocktails, you're supporting a New Jersey owned company dedicated to quality and community. Follow them on Instagram at gimme_cocktails or visit gimmecocktails.com to learn more. Cheers to drinking local. Gimme Cocktails. Pick it up. This is a Drop Podcast where we talk golfing in the Garden State. I'm Mike Poro, and this is Ryan Coulott.
What's up, Drop Pod people? Welcome back. It is Interview Thursday, and we got a really fun interview for you this week. Mike and I got some time to sit down with is not the right term, but we did it, virtually here with Peter Chang, aka Panda, who is the head pro at Copper Hill Country Club. Mike, I don't think that Copper Hill is a very well-known location across the state. It is an original Tillinghast course. They've rerouted some things here, but there is original AW course, features to the course there. So it's I think when we do see it, we're going to find that it's a little bit of a kind of a hidden gem in that like northern central western side of the state. It's out by like the Ridge at Backbrook. Heron Glen is across the street. So I think we're going to see that it's kind of like a hidden gem over there as far as the golf course is concerned. Now let's talk Panda. I mean, an absolute cartoon character of a human being. And I say that with the utmost respect. He is so much fun. He doesn't care how he's viewed about people. He's just unapologetically him at all times, and he's just a great dude. He really is. He's fun. He just kind of says whatever he's thinking. He's a great guy. It was really a fun interview. I don't know how else to describe it.
Anytime an interview goes from Manhunt to KJ Choi,
Yeah.
You can't beat it. So when you say that we touched upon everything, and I mean everything in this interview, it's one of those ones you can just tell it's just strictly a lot of fun.
Like, can I tell you, I forgot about Manhunt until he brought it up. And I was like, oh, yeah, of course. We all played Manhunt as a kid. Yeah, it was, again, it was just so much fun. I mean, he is all over the map. It really was just a lot of fun. And I think you're going to find that in the interview. He's got such a unique background as well. He talks a lot about KJ Choi, and he mentions, I don't know if you could figure it out by his name, but he is an Asian American, and he does not hold back about some stereotypes with being Asian. So it was a lot of fun. I think you guys are all going to enjoy it. So without further ado, we're going to send you to that interview with Panda. I should say Peter Chang, aka Panda, head professional at Copper Hill. Enjoy.
All right. So today's guest, this is going to be entertaining for everybody out there. Our guest today is head golf professional at Copper Hill Country Club, Peter Chang, also known as Panda. Thank you so much for coming on today's show.
What's going on, fellas? Thanks for having me on.
Looking forward to it, Panda.
Dude, let's
Panda,
talk. Let's get into it, right?
there's a lot we need to dissect, but before I get into the meat of this interview, why don't you give the audience a little bit of a background about you, how you
Well,
got
first of
into
all,
the
can I
game?
swear on here? Is this like a PG-13 podcast, or
You
like
could no,
can we just
this
like
is
let
carte
it fly, let it fly
no,
off?
where this is carte blanche. We let the guests do what they want.
No, my name's Pete Chang, as you said. Thanks for having me on. I'm the head golf professional at Copper Hill. Always a golf nut, golf geek. 86 baby. So you got to think it's like the Tiger Woods '97 Masters win. What kind of did a big thing for me there. So start playing golf. Probably right around then. And then after I got done with school, I just really kind of missed golf, wanted to hang around a little bit. Was the apprentice of a New Jersey great and Dave Glenn's. I don't know if you guys know
Yeah,
that
but
name. He
Black
was like,
Oak.
yeah, Black Oak. He was National Teacher of the Year. And at that time, he was the David Glenn's Golf Academy up at Crystal Springs. David ran that for years before he moved to Black Oak and then became Ledbetter. So, and he was my coach for a long time. I mean, he's kind of the reason why I got into playing on a competitive level. So I went to him. He brought me on as an apprentice. I taught for him a little bit at Crystal Springs, which was really fun place to be a 22-year-old golf pro. A lot of lots of fun memories there. And then when he made Black Oak, he brought me out to Black Oak as an assistant. Went to work for Mark Giuliano at Fairmount up in Chatham, and then got my head pro job at Copper Hill. About this is going to be my 7th year now. Holy shit, that went quick. So
Time
I got
goes, right?
it. I was lucky. I got it on the younger side. I was 31 when I got the job, and and then going on to 32, and I'm 38 now. So yeah, time moves quick. I love it though. I love golf. So it was like it's if you don't get excited about getting free golf swag and playing playing competitively and getting to play these awesome golf courses, then because you see some burnt out golf pros, right? And but I still love it. So I'm happy to come out here and banter with you guys a little bit on the game.
That's great. Yeah, it is what you make it, right? Like you could be a burnt out golf pro because it's golf, 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 golf. But you can also, like, if you embrace it, it could, you could really turn into a love
Well,
for
it's
it.
like any other. It's like everyone, because I see, even some of my bag boys or some of my students, right? They'll come to me and they're like, "Oh, it looks awesome," like you make good money to get free golf swag and play golf all the time. But I do warn them. There. It's like any other job, right? You have to build a book. You have to build a client list. You have to. There's some people you love, some people you deal with that you don't see eye to eye. It's like any other industry, and then there's going to be ups and downs to it. But at the core of it, I think for me at least, if I always got into this because I love the game of golf and I love people, right? Just kind of interacting with people, getting to know you guys, and just chatting and talking about golf. So if you don't lose sight of that, I think at the core of it, I think you're going to be in a good place. So.
Yeah. Peter, I want to go back to before you got like into, like, going back more to when you got into golf, right? You're you said born 86, so you're a prodigy of watching Tiger Woods come up, right? So like where are you in your life, right? Are you coming from New Jersey? Where'd you grow up playing?
Oh
Are
yeah,
you
no,
like give
I grew up the beloved only Asian friend of like dozens of well-to-do. I don't know if you guys know anything about Sussex County, New Jersey, but there isn't a huge. I mean, I loved where I grew up,
yeah.
so don't get it twisted, right? Called Frieden, New Jersey. I don't know if you have heard of Frieden, New Jersey. It
Free,
is
no.
the prettiest little town in Sussex County. I don't know, maybe Newton, Sparta
Yep.
might ring a bell to you guys.
Yeah.
So it's up in the boonies there. But I grew up just like loving, in a real small town. It's like that small town thing where when you're growing up in a small town, you can't wait to leave. And then I went to school in DC, and then I'm up near New York. I got a place that's got more going on. But I think back at my childhood, and I love my childhood. I love growing up in the country. You know what I mean? Like you got
Yeah.
nothing to do, so you're you're playing sports in the walk. You play your. I mean, we played video games back then, but it's nothing like it is now. I feel
No.
like it's almost like too much now, where kids don't go outside and play anymore, which is kind of sad. But
Truth.
remember Manhunt? Did you guys play Manhunt back
Love
then?
Manhunt. Yeah, man.
Love me a good Manhunt session, like every Friday night. We would, like, you know what
Hold
I
on, hold
mean?
on. We might be talking about two different manhunts here, Panda.
No, no,
No.
no, 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 no. I'm talking about like age like 8 to
Yeah. Friday
14.
nights, what you
14.
did.
Friday
Friday
nights.
What are
nights.
you gonna
Yeah.
do?
Run around the
you're gonna
neighborhood.
hide and go seek in the dark. I mean,
Yeah.
like, what's not fun about that? So, yeah, I kind of was up there. We always play a lot of sports, and then I randomly got into it. I had an older buddy of mine, Doug, and Dougie got into golf first. So you know how most of the time with golfers, it's like, oh, my dad got me into it, my grandpa got me into it, or something like that. But you know, immigrant kid, my family didn't have money to pay. So, so he got into it first, kind of brought me on, and then my folks were like, um, at that point too, there's like an Andover. I don't know if it still exists. There's a little par 65 public track community called Rolling Green. You guys know
Still out
heard of
there.
it?
It's still out
Rolling
there.
Green,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Andover, New Jersey.
Yeah,
It's
it's
like
out there.
it had really good greens. It's par 65, short, tight. You could get smacked. Like all the holes were like adjoining, so you could get smacked from three different ways. So it's definitely um, you definitely had to yell four, or you could definitely kill somebody type of place. But the owner there, Ian, big dude, was like really cool with like junior golfers. You didn't have to do like the collared shirt. You could wear like like your Nikes, and it was a public, relaxed place. And I remember our parents would drop us off at like 9 before they would go to work, and then we would just play all day for like $15 or something. And you just played all day, and then you come back and you putt contest. They would give me like $5 to eat like the roast beef sandwich for lunch, and then you would just play all day. It was like free childcare. Now I think back on it, but it was great. You drop them off for $20. You pick them up at 5, and there were grown-ups around, so it wasn't like it was a. But I mean, those days are kind of gone, though. I feel like those places are missing now. So I mean, if I didn't have a place like Rolling Green, I wouldn't have gone into golf. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
It's crazy. I mean, listen, I don't know if you remember, but do you remember crossing paths with us right when we started this bad boy up at Hudson Golf?
oh
I
yeah,
remember, I remember this was maybe our first like month or two into this bad boy. We see you up there, and I'm like, things have come full circle to now. It's like getting you on, chatting it up with you. I've crossed paths with people like Matt Jr. that I didn't know that you knew that you
oh
grew up with
Junior,
Matt. Yeah,
yeah.
like
I love a little Matt Junior. I love
listen.
a little Matt Junior drop.
So let me yes,
Really,
I
he
I
had a
had to
really
drop the name because Right. If you didn't know, Matt Jr. was the guy who took family pictures of my dad and my brother and I
Yes.
Yeah,
in Pinehurst, right?
I
Carolina.
knew. Yeah, I couldn't put the name to where, but yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And he's a former New Jersey guy. And he brings up, "Oh, do you know my buddy Panda?" And I'm like, "Get the hell out of here. Are we
Yeah,
talking about the same guy?" He's
yeah.
like, "Yeah." Before you know it, small world always brings us back to golfing in the Garden State.
No, I love it, man. Yeah, Junior and I go way back. No,
That's
and
what he was telling me.
he has formed a nice little side gig for himself because
Mhm.
at first it was just like grab the Fiji camera and then just love playing golf. And there was a point where we would play golf, and if it's like a really scenic golf course, and I love I if it's a because sometimes you'll have like a really good golf course that's not it doesn't look good on Instagram. You know what I mean? It doesn't look good on a picture. It's a great layout though, like the green complexes and the bunker placement and the overall routing is like spectacular, but it doesn't have the the Pacific Ocean punching you in the face type of wow, right? And then there's other places that are kind of like it doesn't play well. It's too hilly, right? Like
Mhm.
a perfect example is Crystal Springs. You guys play Crystal Springs, right? Because I saw your public golf course list. It was like
We
Ballyho and Wild Turkey. So you
yeah,
guys must play Crystal Springs then.
We got rained out when
we
we
got
tried to
rained
play
You
out
got
to
there.
play
rained out.
the Crystal
Okay,
Springs course.
so
Yeah.
to give you a point, I was gonna because like Crystal Springs is one of those courses in my mind where it pictures great because there's all these rolling hills and elevation changes, and there's some like wow, like there's a quarry, there's like this. But when you play that par three quarry course, it's such a downhill shot that if there's any like if it's blowing 25, it doesn't matter what shot you play. It's you're leaving it to the gods,
Yeah.
which I don't necessarily think is like the best type of golf hole where you have like no control over the outcome. You could hit
Hmm.
the perfect shot and a wrong gust here or there, and then you're taking five like just off the cuff. But that's an awesome hole to picture, right? So if we would play a place like that, I remember Junior just literally taking a couple of holes off and taking pictures, right? Which he was, but like that's kind of going back to like how awesome golf is, where like you don't have to be good at golf. People think you have to be good at golf to like really enjoy it. Everyone kind of sucks, right? It's all like a level
It's
of
a
like
level of
how
suckiness.
much you suck, right? Like you can say I'm pretty good at golf. Like I've shot under par in competition, but then if I played against some of the guys on tour, they would have to give me five aside, and I would still get waxed,
Yeah.
right? So like it's all comparative. I really do think it's just about kind of like finding what you love about the game and sticking to it. And Junior's a really good example of that.
I'll tell you, he's doing things on camera, and him, a guy like Evan Schiller, who we've had on too,
Yeah.
like guys that are like professional photographers. They're doing something that I think is nearly impossible to do because I think golf landscape photography, it never does it justice. You take a picture of
No,
something like if you and I go to a golf course, right? Say we go to Pebble Beach, right? We take a picture of that 17th hole. It
yeah.
is never doing it. It's the most beautiful hole in golf or whatever. It never, yours and my photo, Mike will include you in it too. That photo is never as good as the actual view itself, right?
100%.
And
When you
and
see like
these
a full
guys,
moon and you're like, "Oh, look how cool that moon looks."
right?
You take
Yeah.
a picture of it and it's like, this
It's
is
oh,
just
there's just a
nothing.
glowing
Just
dot in my
yeah,
screen.
it's a dot. It looks nice. Yeah.
But like those guys, they're doing stuff that like again, I think is nearly impossible. They're taking it and they're making it come to life, and that is so in my mind, it's virtually impossible to do. So I really, when I see like good golf course photography and it's incredible because it's so difficult to capture.
Yeah, I just wish he was as good at fantasy football as he was at taking golf pictures.
I'm sending him that clip. I'm
He's
sending that clip. Don't
yeah,
don't you
he
worry.
and
I might
I
even text him right now.
yeah, we're in the same fantasy football league, and the poor
Yeah.
guys just had the worst luck.
The New Jersey Golf Foundation, the charitable arm of the New Jersey PGA section, is committed to positively impacting lives and communities through the game of golf. With a focus on three core pillars: youth, military, and special needs, and led by PGA of America golf professionals, the New Jersey Golf Foundation hosts a dynamic lineup of annual programs for all levels and abilities and a series of special events to support programming. Signature youth programs include golf in schools and PGA Junior League, while military programming is highlighted by PGA Hope, helping our patriots everywhere, a weekly rehabilitative golf program that is saving the lives of military veterans. The foundation is also a strong advocate for inclusion through its support of Special Olympics New Jersey Golf and L's for Autism. To support programs and special events, please visit njgolffoundation.org or call 732-465-1212. That's njgolffoundation.org or 732-465-1212. I do have another question for you before we get diving into the meat of this. How are you feeling from a health perspective? I know you had a little bit of a scare
Oh yeah.
a few months ago, and I know
Yeah,
you
it
and
was
I were
almost
touching base. Yeah,
yeah, it
like,
was
how
almost
are we doing?
exactly yeah, I feel great. It was almost
Good, good.
exactly a year ago. I think I'm on the same boat as most of us. We're gonna do the 2025s a year. We drop 50 pounds and get a 6 thing, right? That'll probably last like 2 weeks, but I think last it was almost a year exactly to when it was what it is now. It was and it was so weird, man. So like, do you remember the show House? Remember the House?
Yeah.
The whole thing was about basically this brainiac guy, infectious disease expert that basically diagnoses patients that nobody knows why they're sick. And I realized that's how important that is because I got super sick. I thought it was like COVID, but then it was like then like my like side start busting up, and I'm like, this isn't COVID. This is weird. So I went to the hospital, and they almost sent me off because I had a crazy fever. But they did all the blood work, all the tests, all came out negative, right? So, but like they can't control my fever, so I go in. Over the next 4 days, I'm like so sick, like crazy sick, and they can't figure out what it is. So it kind of climbs and climbs and climbs, and it gets to like the head of like because when you constantly see different doctors, that's when you're going like, oh no,
Right. What's going on? It's just working its way up now.
yeah, I mean, like it's just like you would think that you would get like the 29-year-old guy who's just making his rounds, being like, give him the antibacteria, he's done, right? I keep seeing different doctors. I'm like, oh no, and basically, I had a super rare. I had a blood infection, and I had a blood infection that was caused by something in my liver from this super rare bacteria that doesn't exist in the US. So they were like, Chang, like there was nothing to do with your health. It had nothing to do with like, like any of your like you were in perfect health, but you got this super rare, it's one of those like 10 cases in the US per year type of craziness,
Wow.
right? So basically they think, and it's a guess, that it doesn't exist in the continental US, but then I was in Puerto Rico for like a couple of days for a long weekend, and I got bit by a mosquito or ate something, or I don't know. You know what I mean?
Wow.
I ate a
Yeah.
bad plantain over there, and then I got this bacteria in my system somehow. But God willing, they caught it in time, and it was great. Freaked my fiance out pretty good.
I'm sure.
Uh, yeah, yeah, yeah. And my parents were freaked out pretty good, but yeah, we're all good.
Yeah.
Feeling good.
That's
Good.
that's good. It's
Good.
good.
It
Yeah.
gives you
Glad you.
like it's a good reset too, though. I mean, it might be like too much of a glass is half full type of thing, but like like 30, you're kind of getting older, and you take it for granted, right? So it gives you a nice. I thought of it as a reset, being
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, listen, wait till you hit 41 like me. Shit just really changes,
he
pal.
looks good though, huh?
He
Yeah, I
does.
see. I like. I see.
Look
You
at that.
available tomorrow and the next day to come on? I mean, listen, we just
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
41.
Ben, I'm with you. I feel like I'm turning 40 this year, and I'm like, okay, time to be an adult. Like I
Right.
need to start taking care of myself. I need to
Yeah.
act right. I need to, it can't
Yeah.
be I can't be out drinking till 2 and then ordering late night wings at 3 in the
Right.
morning anymore. So
Right.
it's
I mean, we still do it. I just think it's one of those things where like you could still do that, but it's like we definitely got to do it, once every 2 weeks instead of it being like, oh, it's Tuesday.
yeah.
It's I'm gonna down a fifth of whiskey and order and down like eat a cheese pizza to my face,
yeah.
um,
Sounds good
which
to
I
me.
definitely am guilty of. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Oh, for
I
sure.
kind of didn't realize how important diet was when you got older. So,
No,
um,
I'm with you. I'm feeling like again, there's going to be a 4 in front of my name or after my
yes,
name come the end of this year, and it's like,
yeah,
okay, it's time to be an adult.
yeah.
I'm
You guys are
definitely feeling
so
that
old.
as well.
40. I'm still 3, man.
Hey,
So
I'm
I'm
a year
still
older
feeling
than
good.
you.
Feeling good.
Yeah, I'm the old buck here. I mean, what can
Yeah.
I say? I mean,
But
it's happens when you
you look the youngest though, Mike. It might
I
be the
act the
buzz
youngest
head
too.
with the well
He's got
kept.
no gray in it. That's the
Yeah,
problem. I got too much gray in mine.
yeah. I
It's
have like no. I got like a
hey,
no
that's
hair
Ben, I
plus
might just hang
gray.
out with you more often. I mean, I feel like I'm 25 with you right now. Um,
How's
but
your
listen,
golf
I
game?
think listen, let before I get into the golf game and the golf courses, I know you want to grill me on a lot of things. I got all your texts. I need to be educated on Copper Hill.
Oh,
This is a spot, listen, I've never been to. I've
oh,
never heard of until you came around.
that's
I
100% true.
I I've never been invited up to Copper Hill. So, I mean,
yeah.
I'm
So
hopeful you can educate me.
okay, so it is in central New Jersey. The reason why nobody's heard of it, I would say, is the geography of it because it is central western New Jersey. So, in terms of the golf clubs that we do reciprocals with, right? There are more golf courses in the Gap section, the Philly section, than the Jersey section. It's like Doylestown, Jericho, Lookaway, places like that, right? Um, uh, it is, I think, the most central place. So I'm gonna try to host more events there, just because for New Jersey, I think it's hard to find central locations. There's so many good golf courses up north, and then there's a lot of golf courses on the shore, the Manasquans, the Navasinks, the Deals, Hollywoods of the world, right? So um, we're centrally located, which is great, but it is also kind of, it is hard to get the name out just because it is kind of off on the beaten path over in Hunterdon County. The original 9 holes was designed by Tillinghast, and that was
Oh
in
wow.
1927. And then they had, I always say that, when you become a young head pro going into a place, you kind of do feel like you're filling the shoes of the previous head pro and you're trying to do better. And especially if it's a pro that's been there for a long time. And Copper Hill is a loyal place in the sense that it's been around since 1927. I'm only the fourth head pro there, which is
Wow.
Wow.
which is crazy if you think about it. And then I've only been there for 6 years, right? So you could imagine the 3 guys before me really had long tenures at the club, which kind of goes to show you that they're loyal to their guys and also that they treat their pros well. And I always said that I always feel like I was, walking in the steps of a ghost in the sense that Michael Amarelli. It was the first golf pro at Copper Hill, and he was there until he passed away. I think in his late 80s, early 90s. So he was there for better part of 65 years or something like that.
Wow.
So and he designed the back nine. He really, a lot of people have there's different, some people say that it was the original, the middle 9 was Tillinghast, but we brought up the old paperwork. Our centennial's coming up, so the original 9 was Tillinghast, and in terms of the first 5 and the last 4 holes that were created was different guys putting input in, but a lot of it was the original head pro, Mike Amarelli. At this point right now, we're probably right around 300 members. It's a no tee time club, so, and it's old school in that way. We want our members just to be able to show up and play. You don't need tee times. We're pretty, and because of that, we try to be real strictlers on pace of play. Um, so it's a type of place where if you're playing at 4 hours and 20 minutes, you're gonna get a finger pointed at you. So
You get a note
we
in the locker.
huh?
You get a note in the locker.
Yeah, no, not necessarily note in the locker. We try to not go too much of the public shaming route, but we try to say like, hey, like just do subtle things like just just be like, hey, when did you guys tee off, type of thing, like, um, and because there's a culture of that, people, yeah, I'll certainly get a call. I mean, it's a private course, so you're not gonna have like rangers out there like screaming at members, you know what I mean? But I would get a call for sure, being like, hey, bro, it took us 2 hours and whatever to play to get through 8 holes and take a look. So the golf course itself is it's a par 72, 6,600 yards from the tips. So it's not too long, but it's in great shape. Our superintendent Pat Dolan and his staff is you know, almost everyone that ever plays Copper Hill will say they'll play it and they're like, "Hey, that was super fun." Number one, because it's a very fair course. It doesn't have maybe the wow hole that we were talking about with the waterfalls and the scenery that kicks you in the face. We might not have that hole, but we don't have any goofy holes. We have every single golf hole has some quality to it in terms of it being a very fair golf hole to play. Um, and number two, conditions. I would say my superintendent, Pat, is, all those grass growing guys in general tend to be you got to be a little bit of a scientist and a little bit of a psycho, right? Like you're waking up at 3 o'clock every day on your own accord. You're breathing in that pesticide for 12 hours a day. You get a little crazy, right?
It's
But it's but 100% you need to be a mad scientist type energy to be really good at that job, and you need to have some absolute work ethic, right? And my guy Pat is probably the hardest working guy I've ever seen. It's almost to a point where like you know we got our members love it obviously, but as like a coworker, I'm like, yo, you could go fish for a little bit, like because he is, but it shows, man. Because our golf course, for being, the mom and pop, kind of hidden gem type course, it's gonna be. I'll be hard pressed, and I don't want to jinx it, but you'd be hard pressed to find a better condition golf course. It's in really good shape all the time, and I say that it's even when like the weather's crap, when it's like super humid and hot and everyone's like, oh, we're gonna it's like our greens and our tees, our fairways are always mud. You know what I mean? The fair like the rough, if it's a drought like we had this past year, the rough might get a little dormant, but you catch a few flyers out there. It's our members don't mind dormant rough. I don't think anyone does, to be honest. As long as the tees, fairways, and greens are good, right?
yeah,
So that's, and I understand me bragging about Copper Hills, me like bragging about my own kid. So
yeah.
you guys should come by, get play a little bit, get a good round in, and I'll open that invite up for next year, fellas.
100%. I'm anything Tilly House. I'm in for because
Yeah, it's
uh,
small greens, and you'll be able to tell which ones were Tillinghast, which ones weren't. I
so
think.
I
I
actually
think.
want to go back to something you said before. You said he was the original 9 holes, but then you said the 5 holes before. Is he like the center holes? What holes are the
It's in the
original
center
9?
holes. So you'll see. So like the routing has changed a little bit over the years. So when you play one through our current routing of 1 through 18, right? That wasn't like hole one wasn't originally hole one.
Hole 1. Okay.
So like the original 9 holes that was built in the center was Tony.
Okay. Interesting. And what's that
Yes.
hole 5, hole
I would
6?
say that goes from hole 4. I would have to look at the original to answer that correctly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, that's really I mean, he's done so much in this area that there's not much he hasn't touched. But again, like Mike said, like and even you said, like it's a small hidden gem kind of place. It's not something we've ever heard of. At least I've definitely never heard of it until we met you. And even now, it's not like a place that it's well talked about. So it is in that like hidden underground
Yeah.
part of New Jersey golf.
I would say it's New Jersey golf in that area. It would be Stanton Ridge. It would be us. You'll see the Ridge at Backbrook is a big one.
Hmm.
Um,
That's one
but
that gets some love in that area. Yeah.
yeah, then it's like Cobblestone Creek. Then after that, then it's like Springdale and Princeton,
Hmm.
Trenton Country Club, which again is like it's in the New Jersey section now, but it used to be in the Gap.
Hmm.
So in that central Jersey, there's some gems down there. So I know you guys play Stanton, right?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. So so Stanton, I would say it's like Stanton and us is probably the closest in terms of like, a lot of our members go over there, a lot of their members come over here. We kind of swap members a lot.
And I'm looking now. You're right across the street from Heron Glen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So you guys played Heron.
I've never played. No, Mike's never played either.
It's
Oh,
on our
see,
hit
so
list for next year.
that's a worthwhile 36 and get that in your system.
I think, I,
Play
Mike.
my
I think it's just figuring out the day, but I think we figured out our day of 36 there.
No, that's a good 36 because Heron Glen's a good golf course too, and it's super popular. It's like I'm pretty sure it's a county ran course. So,
It is.
um,
It is.
yeah, it is, right? So I think you should. Yeah, I hear a lot. I heard it's a fun golf course. It's messed up that I've been there for 6. I've been going like literally driving past it for every day for like 6 years, and I haven't played it still.
It's one of those public golf courses that people reach out to me all the time and say, "You need to go play it. You need to go
Yeah,
play it." And it's one of those ones that it's on the hit list. Similar to like architects, it's on the hit list. It's just we
right.
haven't been able to venture. But in
Yeah,
2025, it is high on the list, which kind of leads me to the list that I know you saw the lists of
yeah,
ours, and
yes,
you sent me some text messages about the list,
yeah.
and I want to hear your perspective and your feedback and your criticism of the lists.
Now, okay, so this is all right. I
And I don't want no sugar coating. I
no
don't want to play the
sugarcoating,
politic
no
game. I
sugarcoating.
want the cold hard truth.
This is all right. So my only thing is Ryan. I love North Jersey.
Hmm.
I love North Jersey.
Yeah.
And you know what I love even more than the golf club are their pros. They got some of the best pros in the
Great
city.
guys. Yep.
Great guys, right? Big fans of the Bryans. But that golf course is so fucking hard. It's so hard.
So hard.
It's so hard.
Yeah.
It's the hardest 6,600-yard golf course.
It really is. Yeah.
And I've seen your golf swing.
It's not good.
There's no way you broke 90. There's no way you would have been like, oh, this is fun. This is a fun golf course. I love this golf course.
I shot 96 there.
I
shot 96
all
there
right,
the first time
I
we
love
played.
this golf course. So, like, I mean, just talk to me. You just like love the layout. You love the locker room. You love like, is this the whole thing or is it the golf course? Because
No,
I love the club, but that golf course is hard. I qualified for the Met Open there. My first Met Open, I qualified at North Jersey, right? Thought I loved it. Haven't broken 80 cents. Like it was like it is, and it's always a different hole that bites you in the face. And it's always right around the greens or like, and you could be playing good and shoot like 76, 77.
Hmm.
And if you're playing bad, you could shoot a billion, right? So I was just thinking when you're like, oh, this is like the best golf course I played. I was like, man, he's a glutton for punishment.
No,
So it gives me a more look
100%
into
I am.
the type of person you are, more so than like
It's I actually, so we put out our list of most repeatable places, and that was my number one. And I understand that it is. I'm getting my butt kicked every time I go there. Like I said, first time I played there, I shot 96, and it was a it could have been even worse. Like I grinded for that 96.
Right.
It is a brutal golf course. If you're not playing well, there's a lot of runoffs that, like, I hit that ball really well and it rolls into a bunker because there's no rough protecting the bunkers, right? Like
Right. Right.
you can certainly get caught up in it. What I like about it is the whole thing. Like I like that it's tough. I
Yeah.
do. I think it makes you a better golfer. Like if you play there often, like I bet their membership when they go to
Yeah.
other
Their
places,
handicap
their
transfers well,
handicap travels well,
for
right?
sure.
I think that I love the architecture of the clubhouse. That
Yeah.
old golden age
Right.
1920
So you're
like it's
going for the whole thing. It's
beautiful,
not
right?
just the
Yep.
golf.
It's not just the golf course.
If
The
it's
Bryans
the whole
there are
thing, that's
fantastic.
understandable.
It is the
If
whole
it's
thing.
just the
Like,
golf course, then you're crazy because
well,
like
then I'm
who
just a
wants to get their
masochist,
ass
right? I
kicked
just
every
like to go and get my butt kicked every day.
day? Yeah. Yeah.
It's for sure it's that, but it is the whole thing for me. It's everything about it. The Bryans treat us great there,
The
and
Bryans
James
are the best
Sirico
people.
are amazing.
I
Yeah,
can't
they're
I can't tell you how much, like, as like a golf pro, you it kind of goes back to meeting people, right?
mhm,
And I love golf and I love golf pros just because it's like a little small fraternity we have, right? And both Bryans are really two of the best guys I've met in the industry. Kind of, and I consider both of them, good friends of mine. So,
yeah.
but they know, like, how much I have a love hate relationship with North Jersey because I never played good there. You know what
It,
I mean?
it's
When I
funny.
when you guys played Ridgewood, did you play the composite course? Which 18 did you play?
Played all 27.
You played all 27.
Yeah.
So have you ever gotten a chance to play their composite? Their
So I was told
composite.
we'll be in 2025. We'll be invited back to play just the composite.
Okay. So that'd be cool. So it is. I think it is. I agree with that. If it was, we got that, they treated us. We played the clam bake there a couple of years ago, and and it was the year before they had the USAM there, right?
Okay.
But they were kind of using it as like almost like a test. I mean, they obviously had the tees up,
Mhm.
but they had the rough real high. Greens were cooking, and they really had it set up in a USGA level tournament. And we got to play the composite course, which is the championship course that they play. And man, it was so good. I mean, talk about going 12 rounds with Tyson and just getting your face kicked in and loving every second of it. Like some guys complained that it was too hard, and I'm like, you're out of your mind. It's kind of going back because you're playing the same golf course, right? And kind of going back to like loving golf stuff. Like I'm a golf geek. Like I want to play the same shot under the same conditions as on a golf course that they're gonna play, that so that I could appreciate how psychotically good a
Right.
particular golf shot was, right?
Mhm.
So, for example, when I played Torrey Pines in San Diego, my only disappointment. Oh,
I
you
did the
played
same thing. I played Torrey Pines. I went to that chip shot that Tiger Chip did, and I
right,
was like, "This is ridiculous that he did that."
great,
Yeah.
but the only issue is on a normal, and same thing with Beth Page, right?
Mhm.
We're never gonna play Beth Page or Torrey at the conditions that the majors are held in. It's a different golf course in terms of difficulty.
Mhm.
Like Torrey's tough as it is. I don't know what tees you played from, but I try to play from like one forward of back
Yeah, that's
because
where I played.
7,500 like sea level. Like I have no
Mhm.
chance. So I played it at like I think just over 7,000 yards, and you're right by the ocean. The ball doesn't really carry that far. I mean, that's a long, long golf course, right?
Mhm.
But then I'm thinking like, oh, the greens are running at like a 9.5, 10. If these greens are running at a 12, 12.5, which they are for a big tournament, and the rough gets lengthened out, that weird Cali West grass,
Mhm.
and that the rough gets
Gets
thick,
gnarly.
this golf course is psychotic hard.
Yeah.
It's psychotic hard, right? And same thing with Bethpage. So I loved getting to see Ridgewood at the same conditions that those guys were playing in, because it goes to show you how good golf is being played at the highest level. It gives you a respect for those guys, but it also is one of those things where, like, when I was early in my golfing career, if I had like a talented young kid be like, "Oh, I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna play on tour," right? I would It would be all enthusiasm, being like, "Yo, go for it, good, do it, go, go, go," right? And I still have that enthusiasm, but then I'm like way more realistic now, in the sense that, like, dude, you practice for like 45 minutes.
Yeah.
You're not that talented to get by,
You're good for here right now. You're good for this for right now.
right?
But you're
You shot 74 on your home course, right? And you had a couple of members pat you on the back, and
yeah,
then you think you're like a hot shot.
right. 74 is really nice.
Dude, you need to practice until your hands bleed. And I don't want to be like too much of like a tiger dad type thing,
Hmm.
but I just need to like give them a perspective on how good, not Tiger Woods, John Rahm, Rory McIlroy, but how good the guy that's ranked 174 is, right? The guy that just scrapped by, like, kind of like, the Ryan like New
I was just
Jersey,
thinking
right?
Ryan McCormick guy. Yeah,
McCormick.
New Jersey guy.
McCormick he was so good. He was such a good amateur at 1920, but it took him years and getting stronger and longer and kind of refining his game to get it to the level where he's at now, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, like, and like, God bless him, like, he did it, right? And the Jersey boys are doing well out there, but it takes
But
equal.
even to your point, someone like Ryan McCormick, who's when we talk to him, like he's putting in hours a day. Like he's talking about going and hitting balls for 2 hours. Then and that's just like irons. Then he hits chips for
Yeah,
2 hours. Then he's putting for 2 hours. Like you
it's
got
a
to
job,
put it. Yeah, it's a job and
job.
that's how you get to that point. And this is someone who's 162nd in the world.
Right.
Like you hit 45 minutes of golf balls and then went and played, and it's nice you shot even par, but you're closer to shooting 100 than you are becoming a pro golfer.
For sure,
So
100%. And then I think you guys also, like, there's like a, at that level, I feel like the hardest thing to overcome is there's a comfort zone for everyone. So, you know, getting 100, and let's say you had equal talent across the board, right? Getting a player from 110 to 95, I'm pretty confident as an instructor, where as long as you can, as if you have use of both hands, both feet, and you have a sense, spatial awareness,
yeah,
I'm I will almost bet the farm that I could take anybody to a 95 level, right?
yeah,
So I could take somebody with that, it's from 110 to 95. Now, somebody taking 95 to like an 84, 85 place, more difficult, more
huge.
difficult, right? But once you break that 85 mark, now it's not 10 shots. You're getting better by like 1, 2 shots, right? Now, once you get down to that 77 place, like 76, 77 place, now it's like this. Now it's like that in terms of like how you improve. Um, and you can't even really see yourself improving. So you might be getting better, but you're like, oh, I shot 79, but I swear my game felt better than when I shot 75, and things went right, and like, I got lucky and things what happened. So it's like, being able to track where you could get better. And so for those guys that are in that, I would say most college or high level high school or college golfers are in that scratch to +2, like one handicap to +2, like they're right in there. So imagine how much harder it is then, because +2, you're a sick golfer, right? So sick. To get from a +2 to a +8, which is where you have to be to have a shot at playing golf. Those 6 shots, I would say, is a bigger 6 shots than somebody who shoots 80 to 100.
Then the 20 that we started
And the
with, right?
20 from
Yeah.
100 to 180,
Yeah.
like that 6 is miles harder to make up that 6 than it is the back end 20.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
Because
Because it's so fine. It's
they're so
so
fine. There's a point where you're like, it's not even like a matter of talent. Like you need a certain amount of talent to get to scratch level golf. Like to get to that good at golf, you need to have a certain amount of coordination. But from there to that +8 thing, that's like now you need like at that point, I would say it's like 95% determination and focus than 5% talent because
Yep.
everyone that's gotten to that level has got a certain amount of talent, right?
Mhm.
So I just have to give my guys a warning, being like, hey, if you want to just like set your goals right. If you just think like, oh, like I'm gonna be this world beater and I'm gonna, beat Tiger Woods and Roy McIlroy and Bryson and I'm gonna make hundreds of millions of dollars, like, all right, good. I love the dream, but this gotta be your life.
You got to hit
This
some.
got to
You
be
got to
your
hit
life.
some goals before that.
Oh my God, this has got to be your life. And it's got to be your life with and I'm all for having backup and being a good student, and you got to do all that, right? But in terms of like where your headspace is at, like I'm going to school, I'm doing my work, and then like it's golf. Like
Yeah.
I'm not going to a party. I'm not doing, you know what I mean? I'm not going to the frat party. I'm going to get my 8 hours sleep so I could train and practice. Like it's got. I almost feel like it, unless you're like this crazy freak of nature, Dustin Johnson type of once in a full moon type athlete.
Mm.
If you're like a regular kid, you got they're so good at golf. Can I tell you a story in terms of like, oh, like those guys are a freak, like different level, right? So I had KJ Choi, but this is like KJ Choi in his, mid 50s, senior tour player KJ Choi. I had him do a sponsor benefit thing at my place. You got to think, I'm a 38-year-old Korean American golf pro. KJ Choi is a hero. He's
Yeah.
a hero, right? It was like Tiger being like, oh, he's super
It's
cool.
Tiger.
Oh, KJ he looks like my uncle. Like
Yeah.
that's he's my dude, right? It's like, so obviously a hero. He comes and it was like a sponsor thing. So I played with some of his sponsors. He played. We got to play a few holes together. It was like a real dream, right? And long story short, first time seeing it, 63 at my place. First time seeing it, making putts from everywhere.
Yeah.
And I go, oh, 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 different. This dude was like, he made it to like, fourth in the world rankings, hitting it 40 yards shorter than everyone,
Mhm.
right? So you got to imagine how good he's got to be just solid everywhere else to get to that level, not being a long hitter.
Yeah.
And so when you bring him to a little country club with perfect greens, 6,600 yards, he ate it up. He ate it. And it was like,
And he's still probably
he
hitting
was
3-wood instead of driver.
No, but he was hitting driver only 270, but he hits driver straighter than we hit our pitching wedge. Like
Yeah.
it's so okay. So kind of swaggy too, right? You think KJ like, like very very Christian, very like super nice guy. He's all of those things, but he doesn't warm up because it's like a sponsor event. So he's just giving tips going back and forth to his like VIP sponsors, right? First hole at Copper Hill is a dog leg left, and there's a tree on the left side of the fairway that creaks in a little bit like that. But 10, like 8, 10 yards left of that is an OB fence, right? So slight dog leg left, right? He steps up, never seen the golf course before. He's like, "Oh, just take it over that tree with a little cut." And I go, and which was the perfect line. He just kind of knew how the hole went, right? And I said, "Yeah, that's the perfect line." But I gotta tell you, there's OB 10 yards left of that.
Right. Don't tug it at all. You better
Don't tug it
fade
at all.
it.
And just kind of give him a heads up, right? Because like that's the line I take, but I always kind of hang on to it just a little bit just to avoid left. Because anything on the right is it's playable. You could still make birdie on that. And he goes, oh, and he kind of looks at me and goes like, I don't hit it left. Pegs it, goes through his routine, stripes it over that tree. Mind you, he did. It was this is like 8 o'clock in the morning, and he didn't warm up. I didn't see him warm up. He didn't hit balls or anything. He goes, I don't hit it left. Stripes it, picks up the tee, winks, and then walks to his tee golf cart. I mean, like that's pretty swaggy. I didn't expect that from KJ. It was like very like kind of conservative,
Reserved. Yep.
you know what I mean? But he was like, like, who are you talking to? Like, I don't hit it. I haven't hit it left since '94. Like, what do you mean hit it left? It didn't even like cross his mind, like that. Like, and he liked me. He was like, oh, he's funny. He means well. He obviously knows that he's a hero, right? So he's like, he was such a gentleman, and he was awesome. But I kind of go back to that story being like, there's one thing for us to because Mikey can play too. Like there's one thing like when we're grooving, right? When you're grooving, and he's a straight he's a straight push draw guy, right? Am I wrong, Ryan? Push
Yeah.
draw guy,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And he could just 275, 280 down the middle all day when he's cooking, right?
Mm-hmm.
You could be cooking all day, and you could go to that one hole, super tight, right?
Get you a little tighter.
Super tight,
Mm-hmm.
OB way down the left. You could be striping it all day. And if you have a really good round going, it's human nature for us to just just squeeze on that left hand just a tick. It's not a
Mm-hmm.
bad drive, but it's just a little block instead of it being coming back in, right? There's that. And then there's KJ who's like, I don't hit it left. I could hit this as hard as I want with my right hand, and I know it's not going to go left, which I think is the difference, right? Which is like kind of going, and I bring this up because it goes back to like how good these guys are. These guys are at a level where, they really own the golf ball. So it was really cool to see. And there's one more shot where it was like, you know, 18's a long par four. He's got a good round going. His guy who he came with asked me what the course record was on like 16. So I knew he had it going, right? So I told him I think the unofficial course record is 62, official course record 63. So he kind of zones in, and on 18 he blocks it, gets into our fairway bunker. 18 is a hard hole at Copperhill. It's a long par four, and he's in this fairway bunker, and it's clumpy, like wet, clumpy lie, not a good lie. And he's got like probably 180, slightly uphill, like hard shot, like not because of the lie. He 5 feet knocks in birdie, and like I have that clip of him hitting that 5 iron, and like that's the shot where it's also like, oh, that's different. That's different.
Yeah.
Like how pure he struck that from that mediocre lie. It's like I'm pretty good at golf, but you could have given. I probably would say that was like a 1 in 30. Like I would need a small bucket and a whole bunch of tries out of there to hit one that good. And it was like, yeah, Mike. It was like it was such a sick shot.
Wow.
So I look back at that being like, oh, so imagine if you had somebody that was that good that owned his golf swing that much and hit it 330. Then you have John Rahm. Then you have John Rahm, and you have, like the top golfers on the planet is like that. So I just can't imagine, like, I'm just like proud of those Jersey guys that kind of got up there and like, are threatened to win, and they're top fiving and top tenning. Like just because I know the level they're playing
They're
against.
doing
So
it.
for them
Yeah,
to get to that level, coming out of coming out of the Garden State, right? Not having to with the cold winters and everything, it's pretty damn impressive. Pretty
for sure.
damn impressive.
For
So
sure.
I got one question here to end on my end, and I'll pass it to Ryan after this. Obviously, being a New Jersey guy here, okay, you get the opportunity and experience a lot of different places here. If you got invited to one spot and you had to ask the missus for a get out of jail free card,
Mm,
but you can't be Pine Valley and it can't be your home club,
mm.
name that course. And I don't want A, B, and C. I want one golf
One
course here in
place.
New Jersey. In New Jersey.
And then I'll take A, B, and C.
Mm, I would say Baltusrol, just because, again, kind of going through the whole thing. I think Baltusrol lower has arguably right next to Ridgewood the most history. So kind of going to, hit the shot you know, that J Day hit, or the one that Phil hit to get up and down, or the
Mhm.
one that Jack hit. It's pretty special in that regard. Um, Now, with that being said, I that's my one get out of jail free card, because I just love the whole experience and the aura and the history behind it. I wouldn't say it's a that's not in my top five of like best golf courses though. I think it's a different question.
Yeah.
So I
Okay.
would say, like, if it's one get out of jail free card, oh, you get to play here. I would say I would go play with get a good caddy and drop a couple extra balls to see, and then I think they're hosting an open sometime soon, so I would try to make some notes and see what the guys are going to be seeing a couple years from now. So in that sense, that would be it. If you wanted to go into, like, my I think, like, my favorite golf courses to in terms of, like, I'll even say this. I would say Baltusrol Upper is a hot take. Baltusrol Upper is a better golf course than Lower. I don't know if you've played either or.
I've
I
played the front nine on the upper, and people have
I've
said
never
that to
been.
me too. Yeah, that
Dude,
it's.
Upper is because Upper has more shot quality. The Lower is harder. The
Mhm.
Lower is, like, especially stretched out. It's like a better championship course,
Right.
because there's places for people to stand, and there's like grandstands, and it's like made for theater, right?
Yeah.
But man, Upper is awesome too.
I've heard that the members prefer playing the upper as opposed to the lower for exactly that
Upper
reason.
is
That it's
more of a country club course, where,
yeah.
like, members, like, there's like, like, you need a caddy. You absolutely have a home course advantage on the Upper, right? In terms of, like, reading greens and knowing how a golf course, how a hole plays, and
Hmm.
how this one kicks downhill, right to left a little bit more, and things of that nature. So that would be my answer, Mike. And that's a tough one, though. There's
It
there's
is. That's
there's a
why I
few
ask
What
it.
there's a few places I would say I would, kind of Ridgewood being one of them, being like, hey, I'm not going to dinner with your.
yeah. Yeah.
And
What's your favorite then? If that's not your favorite New Jersey, so it's not your top five. What's your
my favorite,
because Mike and I have been talking about that. End of 24, we talked about like what's your favorite
I
course
would
versus what's
say
your most playable?
Bedminster Old is in there. Trump Bedminster Old. Arcola's in there. Mountain Ridge is in there.
It's amazing how
Um,
many people say Mountain Ridge, Mike. It's really
Mountain
so many of
Ridge.
our guests are like Mountain Ridge is
Mountain
is
Ridge
it.
is. I would say it makes zero sense that Plainfield is ranked higher than Mountain Ridge. And that's not a dig on Plainfield.
Plainfield.
Again, love the people there. Like, love Scott and Ryan and Sean and all those guys. Like, love those guys. But in terms of, like, at least for my personal taste,
Yeah.
I just think Mountain Ridge is that good. Mountain Ridge is so good. I would even, in terms of pure golf course, just golf course, I might even say Mountain Ridge is number one. I just love playing that golf course. I think it you have to hit every club in your bag. It's you got the scenery, you got the layout. It's still fair. Like I've shot like really good rounds there, um, and I've also shot bad rounds. So it's super fair. Sometimes like a place like a Cola, the greens can be so hard and fast that it's like, man, like I feel like I gotta play defense the entire time. Um, but I would say, yeah, Ben Minister's in there. I would say Arcola's in there. Mountain Ridge is definitely in there. I want to say Hollywood, because Hollywood's pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then Ridgewood, and then Ridgewood, and then Ridgewood Composites. Like, I mean, I just thought it was awesome. So
Yeah.
that's probably my top five.
Okay.
Top
Love
five.
that. Well, hey, Panda, thank you so much for jumping on. I'm glad you got to grill us a little bit.
Yeah,
This was awesome. Mike, we're gonna have to set up that date where we head up there and
yeah, dude. Like
hit
the Hunterdon
Glen and
County.
Copper Ridge and
Copper Hill.
Yeah,
Copper Hill.
yeah, yeah.
I
Do it.
can't wait to give the old I'm going to do the KJ Choi and just go 63 and just leave
Oh,
you in awe myself. So,
you know what?
you're going to have a
This
new
is
you're going to
this
have
is
a new idol. You're going to have a new idol.
this is
Cuz
this is
I
good.
heard the push
This is
draw.
good.
I
Hey,
heard that, then I snap
I'm
went out of bounds. I got all that.
this golf course is actually, I could see you doing well on this. So let's set the over under at 74.
Wow, that's low.
You're good though. Get out of
That's
here. What are
low.
you?
That's low. Let's
Is
say
that
over
low?
under 77 and a half.
77 and a half? What's
And
your
I
cap?
bet
Wait, what's his cap? Ryan, be honest.
it's
He's
like a 2-1.
well, yeah, he got as low as like a one something this year. He'd say he's like a two.
2.1.
77's too high then.
Yeah,
77 and a
I
half,
go.
and I'll bet dinner on the under.
Dinner on the
Oh,
under.
of course. So yeah,
Of
okay.
course you're gonna
All
bet
right,
the dinner on
I'll
the.
put
You're a
mine at
two.
97. 97. Bet me on the
No,
under.
no. So by
I think 75 is a good one for Mike.
75, I was gonna say
76 and a half, it's a deal.
75.
76 and a half. See, this is why I don't
We'll give you
gamble.
75 and a half then, Mike. How about
This is
that?
this is a
76 and a
crazy
half,
line.
Panda.
75 and a
Thanks
half,
for
Mike.
having
Let's
me on,
take
guys.
it.
Listen,
Yeah, Panda,
thanks,
appreciate
Panda.
this. Was awesome. Looking forward to seeing you and enjoy the rest of your winter. Do you
Awesome.
hibernate? Does the panda hibernate in the winter?
No, man. I'm gonna actually. Panda's training. Panda's gonna train a little bit. I'm teaching. I got this really cool indoor spot in Watchung. It's like a gym and a simulator place. So I'll
Okay.
do a little bit of teaching. I'm gonna try to do right by uh, the misses and build a lot of good credit. Just because golf pros don't tend to be good husbands for 7 months out of the year. It's
Yeah.
pretty rough. 7, 8 months out of the year is pretty rough. So lots of dinners made and beds made, and but it's good. I'm looking forward to it. We got a lot of stuff going on at Copper Hill too, so I'll be
Good.
dropping in and doing a little bit of work there.
Love
So
that.
I'll stay busy. No
Good.
hybrid.
Good for you, man. Well, again, thank you for jumping on. Really appreciate it, and we'll see you soon.
You got it.
Take care, bud.
Okay, guys.